there are stories that no one ever wrote, but that live inside all of us. Stories told, not with words, but with glances, instincts, and silence. 30,000 years ago, under a moonless sky, a single fire flickered in the darkness. Around it, a handful of humans huddled for warmth, and just beyond the light, two glowing eyes watched from the shadows. They were not the eyes of a friend, but of a predator. Yet that night, something changed forever. It was the night humanity decided not to face the dark alone. Back then, the world was ruled by ice. Glaciers carved the earth, the cold was relentless, and every breath was borrowed from death. Humans were fragile, scattered, just another species clinging to survival. And in that endless winter, a question began to echo inside us. Are we truly alone? In the distance, wolf packs howled beneath the frozen sky. Their cries tore through the wind, a reminder that fear, hunger, and hope were not ours alone. They were rivals, yet hunters of the same prey, breathing the same cold air. But they were also a mirror, a reflection of what we could become. They hunted together. They cared for their young. They protected their own. And without realizing it, we shared more than territory. We shared destiny. No one knows how it truly began. Maybe a wolf, starving, crept too close to the remains of a human camp. Maybe a cub was found by hunters, trembling beside the fire. There is no record of that. First look, only footprints, long erased by snow, and the echo of a shared instinct that neither side could explain. But something shifted. The boldest wolves stopped attacking. They lingered near the firelight, drawn by warmth, by scent, by survival. The humans who once answered with spears began to hesitate, then to throw bones instead, and the wild began to soften. Not through conquest, but through choice. It was an exchange. Food for protection, trust for loyalty. The first pact between species. Dot imagine it. A freezing night, sparks rising into a black sky. Humans whispering by the fire. In the distance, a wolf waits. A bone is thrown. He sniffs it, takes it, and disappears without growling. A moment so small, yet powerful enough to rewrite the story of life on Earth. Over time, those wolves changed. Their teeth grew smaller, their ears rounder, their eyes softer. The first dogs were born. But the transformation was not only theirs, it was ours too. Living beside them, we began to change. Scientists call it human self-domestication. By learning to live with beings capable of empathy, we learned to feel it ourselves. They taught us cooperation, care, and tenderness. They became our emotional mirror. And in that reflection, we found something new, a sense of community. Thousands of years later, archaeologists would uncover proof of this bond. A puppy, 14,000 years old, buried gently in the arms of its human companion. Not as a tool, not as a trophy, but as family. Across the walls of caves, paintings of humans and dogs hunting side by side in the frozen mud of ancient camps. Two sets of footprints pressed together, never to be erased. Wherever we went, they followed. Through the tundras of Asia, across the frozen bridges of America, into the jungles and deserts of every new world. They pulled our sleds, guarded our camps, and waited for us when we did not return. Before we learned to grow wheat, we learned to grow trust. Before we wrote words, we learned to read emotions. Before we built temples, we learned to share the warmth of fire with someone who was not of our blood. The dog became our first other, the first being we called friend. And with our friendship, humanity took its first step towards civilization. But every bond has a price. The wolves that stayed with us left behind their freedom. They traded the howl of the forest for the echo of human voices. In return, we made them part of our destiny. And still today, the question remains. Did we domesticate them more? Did they domesticate us? Centuries later, when the city of Chernobyl was abandoned, thousands of dogs were left behind. People believed they would turn wild again, that nature would reclaim them. But it didn't happen. They stayed close to what was human. The houses, the parks, the ghosts. They lived among our ruins, feeding on the traces of our world, caught between two species. waiting for someone to light the fire once more. Modern science now confirms what that ancient night began. We didn't just change dogs, they changed us. The same genes that make them gentle and loyal exist within us too, shaping empathy, patience, and love. Maybe without dogs, we would never have learned how to live together, how to build, how to care. The story of civilization at its core is the story of learning to trust. And 30,000 years later, the pact still lives. Every time a dog waits by a door, every time a tail wags at the sound of our steps. The story is told again. They were never just animals. They were the first guardians of our fire, the first allies of our kind. Because long before cities, before gods, before borders, there was trust. And maybe that's what truly made us human. So, the next time you hear a distant bark, remember, it's not just a sound, it's the echo of the first promise we ever made, the night we decided not to be alone.